The 12th edition of Talkin' Tar Heels starts right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to another edition of Talkin' Tar Heels. We got a lot to get to in this episode. Today, we are going to be recapping the Charlotte game as well as previewing NC Central. So let's take a quick look at the Charlotte game. We aren't going to do a full recap in this game. Carolina was far from perfect in this 38-20 win against Charlotte. They did just enough to pull out the victory. We saw a lot of stuff that we liked from players such as Connor Harrell. I'll touch on that after I do my takeaways. But let's get into some takeaways from this Charlotte game. Number one, the defensive line is finally playing up to their talent level, and this is something that we've been waiting on for 3 years now. It's a unit that's been criticized in these past 3 years for underwhelming performances, but Javari Ritzie has had 5 sacks through the first 2 games of this season. He's really showing real improvement. The unit itself is only allowing 64 rush yards per game. That's 15th in the country through 2 games. So I'd say there is a lot of improvement. And this is the improvement that we've really been wanting and expecting. Number two, Christian Hamilton may have the brightest future of any receiver on this team. Hamilton's put himself in a great position to be a key cog in the offense through the first 2 weeks. He had a 58-yard touchdown reception. He only has 2 receptions on the year, but I feel like he's going to mold himself into a good, reliable target for Connor Harrell, and that's something that he needs. He's got J.J. Jones, Bryson Nesbitt, and Kobe Paysour, who have caught multiple passes, but he needs that fourth receiver, and I feel like Christian Hamilton, he's only a redshirt freshman, but Christian Hamilton can be that guy. Takeaway number three is we need to be a little bit more patient with Connor Harrell. He's not going to be perfect. He showed that against Charlotte. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was far from perfect in that game, but he did enough for Carolina to comfortably win, which is all we really ask of him right now. He has another easier game against NC Central coming up. He's got that game to get comfortable with the offense. He's going to gain some more game experience in this game before the matchups get tougher later in the schedule. Let's give him this week to finally work out the kinks. We can start expecting more of him next week against James Madison. So now let's take a quick look at the stock report, and it's not a full stock report like I did in my last recap, but we do have a stock report for a couple players. Javari Ritzie, his stock is through the roof right now. He's backed up his 3-sack week 1 performance with a 2-sack showing. He's quickly becoming UNC's top pass rusher, and right now he is UNC's top pass rusher with Kamen Rucker injured, and he's perhaps their best defensive lineman overall as well. Stock down, and this is the only stock down I did this week. The entire secondary struggled. The unit looks shaky at best against a team this is a team that they faced against Charlotte that's not exactly going to be lighting up the scoreboard with big plays, and yet the UNC secondary still struggled against them. So they need to patch things up this week against a team that threw 3 picks last week and lost to Elon and NC Central. Stock up, Connor Harrell. Again, he wasn't perfect, but he did enough to win for Carolina. It was overall just a very solid showing. His stat line was 16 for 25 for 219 yards with 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, and that's good enough for Carolina to win comfortably against Charlotte thanks to their defense and a good showing in the rushing game, which we are about to talk about, because stock up Davian Gauze. He was pressed into action when Amari Hampton went down with a minor injury. Gauze stepped up. He looked like the future of this running back room. He had 16 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. I feel like his usage rate could continue to climb, especially if he continues to run like this against NC Central. Amari Hampton was hurt in that last game. I don't know if he plans to play or not. Hopefully he will, and his workload won't be as bad because, again, it's NC Central. All right, so now let's turn to NC Central, and first we'll take a quick look at the matchup. Carolina is 2-0. Offensively, they're averaging 28.5 points per game. They're allowing 18.5 on defense. Their head coach is Mac Brown. The last game, again, they beat Charlotte 38-20. For NC Central, they're 1-1. They've got 25 points per game. They're allowing 29.5. Their head coach is Trey Oliver. And last game, they lost to Elon 41-19. Now, of note, NC Central last year was 9-3. They were a solid team last year. They've not started off that good this year. Again, getting blown out by Elon. They did win their first game. But of note for NC Central, their quarterback through Walker Harris threw 3 picks against Elon. Carolina has a chance to have a good day in the secondary. NC Central also allowed several explosive plays against Elon, including a 74-yard run and a 41-yard reception. So the big plays will be there for Carolina if they go get them. And by go get them, I mean throw the ball down the field and try more like I don't know, stretch plays to get Davian Gauze and Omarion Hampton in space. So now let's move to my keys to the game, and my keys to the game are pretty simple. Make a statement early and don't get cute on offense. Make a statement early. Carolina can't allow NC Central to have any ideas that they can run with them. They got to come out firing early, and that means on that first drive, you need to walk it down the field, stick it in the end zone, or even a big play would work. And then don't get cute on offense. Carolina had a trick play touchdown against Charlotte. They don't necessarily need that against NC Central. They should be able to run the ball. They should be able to pass the ball. They should basically be able to do whatever they need to do against NC Central. So don't get cute on offense. Don't try to do too much because you don't have to do too much. Let's take a quick look at a couple players that I want to keep an eye on. And one is defensive back Caleb Koss. Koss struggled against Charlotte even more than the rest of the others. He needs a good outing. I'm looking for him to have that against NC Central. And then running back Davian Gauze. We've mentioned him earlier. With Hampton injured last week, there's a chance that he could have a lighter workload, and that could allow Gauze, who's a true freshman, by the way, to really step up and have himself another nice day. He had a big game. He had 16 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown against Charlotte. I think we could see another 100-yard game out of Davian Gauze, especially if Hampton isn't 100%. Final thoughts and score prediction. Carolina comes out firing. There's no reason they should not win this game by 20, at least. If Harrell looks comfortable and they have a good ground attack and the secondary patches things up, this game really should be over by halftime. I mean, we're being logical here. This is NC Central, an FCS versus FBS matchup. Carolina should not lose this game. My score prediction for this one is Carolina 41 and NC Central 13. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. Drop a comment to put in your score prediction for this game and let me know how I did. And I will see you guys next Saturday.